So I'm interested in creating some 3D objects, and I gave you this file, but we're not going to use the whole file for a demonstration. And so this is a pretty basic square, but I want it to look more like a cube. So this is just helping me identify what 3D object I'm going to use. So if I go to Effects, there's a 3D option, and of course I had labeled Extrude. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Extrude. And as soon as I hit Extrude, I get this little, I can spin the cube around, but it's now a cube, which is good, and I can use this to dial it in the where I want it to go. Then from there, I have this depth. I can make it bigger or smaller. The cap is the front faces. I can remove them if I don't want the cap, and I can cap it off if I want to. And then there's beveling, which is this angle now that's on the front. So I can change that up if I don't want to, but that's making it look more like a box. And you can experiment with that. So that's how this works well with making like Crossy Road type characters, but it works with text as well. So if I click on this text, which you might have to type the word text on your document, and I can extrude it. I now have text. I have this wheel where I can kind of zoom in on it. I have the ability to bevel it if I want to, which rounds it up on the beginning. And there's different types of beveling. And if you click on them, you can see them all. You can change the width and the height of the beveling. So you can make objects look 3D with the extrude. There is another option though, and I'm going to skip these. You can use the revolve on these two, but you can really see it with these crescent moons and what they do. So there's a difference between the moon that's facing this way and the moon that's facing this way. And then there's one with the whole half of the slice. So if I go to 3D, this time I'm identifying that I want to use the revolve. And what it does is it takes that sliver, this half a moon, and it's almost like it repeats it over and over and over and over and over again to make the shape. And it has a little hole in the top because it's not filled in the middle. So if you do the same thing to this shape that has a middle filled in, revolve, it doesn't have that hole at the top. But again, I can change the way this object looks. I can do all the same things, change the way it's open it up if I want to a little bit. So you have some other options here. And then the last one, this was a really different one because it's this direction. So remember what this direction is, where it's kind of facing the outside, and it repeats this sliver over and over again until you get this shape. So it's still this shape, it's just the opening is on the outside, so you get a very different shape than you do for this type of shape where the crescent is facing the different direction. But you can experiment with this tack that's at the bottom. You can experiment with some of these other shapes that I've given you, but that's how you can make some objects 3D by extruding and revolving.